going? So today on BKR Sport, we are back for another one of these draft series. I'm loving it. You guys are loving it. It's postseason right now. This is helping you guys get through the postseason. It's helping me get through the postseason too, because I'm absolutely, like I said, loving this series. I'm going through all the different teams of all the different players and eras, and I'm remembering them basically, and also not even just remembering, just learning about new players from back in the day, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s. It's so awesome. But if you are new to this series, basically it's a draft-style series with all 16 different NRL teams, including 16 different NRL content creators as well. We do a different team each week with a different creator, and it's so much fun, man. And today, guys, we do have the St George Illawarra Dragons, and today we have the NRL Roast. How you doing, champion?
Good, Blaze. How are you, mate? Thanks very much for having me on this awesome series. Something a little bit different, and hopefully we can have some fun.
Absolutely, man. Well, you already done a draft with me before. You're actually on the original draft with myself, Entertain House, Ladies Who League, and yourself. Like, man, you should be prepared for this one. You should know what you're doing.
Yeah, you'd think so, but then you stick me with one team, and I'm like, oh, I might get a bit stuck here and upset a few people, but. No, it should be fun. I remember that. What was it? Nearly 2 years ago, I think.
It was when we had the pandemic. Yeah, so just last year, I think around like April or something like that.
And more current players too. So it made it a little bit easier. But this was a bit of fun going back through the history books and have a look at some of the players that we might have forgotten about.
Exactly right. Well, yeah, that was kind of just like thrown together, and it turned out so much fun. And now we get to go through the history, like you said. Now, guys, say this is all players from a club. So, for example, this St George Illawarra Dragons is a merger club. So there are multiple clubs that are included here. You can literally use anyone from any time at this club as long as they play for the Dragons and as long as they had the form at the Dragons. Like, you can kind of tweak a little bit if they still were pretty good, but just it's not like the Thurston to the Bulldogs to the Cowboys kind of effect, or James Maloney at the Storm and then Panthers and whatnot. And although James Maloney was fantastic, he obviously didn't really make his name at the Storm. So that kind of thing happens here with the Dragons too. Now, we do have, the way it's going to go is a snake draft. So the person who gets the first pick, which is actually me. Now, I actually didn't win the coin toss. We do a coin toss before every time. And Rosie actually won it with tails. He chose to defer. And with deferring, you get the second and third pick. So it's a snake draft where I go first. He goes bang, bang, and then I go bang, bang, and that's how it goes. Why did you choose to go second?
I felt the pressure of having that first pick. I didn't want to, there's so many great players. Having looked back over these teams, like you've got Dragons, Steelers, and now St George Illawarra, I was just like, I know I'm going to stuff it up. So I was like, no, hand it off. I'll get 2 and 3 picks. So I'll stick with that.
This team's scaring me, man. This team is scaring me. But I think we may as well get underway here. Now, just before we do get underway, guys, please know that this is literally our opinion. It's all a bit of fun. Let us know in the comment section what your thoughts are. And we will be doing a poll on BKR Sport on YouTube to obviously see who wins. But it's all a bit of fun. Do know that you are going to have different opinions. And you might be like, oh, I would have picked him there. But it's like, that's why you comment that down below. And hopefully you guys do enjoy. But are you ready to get going?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, so I am first.
You're on the clock. You're on the clock.
I am on the clock here, man, and I'm gonna have to. I think for me, there's one position here that I really need. There is a couple of guys that I could take there, but I'm going to take Graham Langlands. I'm going to take Graham Langlands there with my first pick there. I just think that one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, and 2, he can kick for me as well.
Do you know that was my first? That would have been my first pick. I had a thought, and I was actually going to take him at centre.
Really?
He played centre there at for Australia as well. So I was like, because I had someone else for fullback, but since you've cleaned up that spot, now it's putting the pressure back on. I was like, surely you're not going to take Graham Langlands first up and take my pick, but you have.
Well, you don't usually look at, like, for example, throughout this series, I don't usually look at a fullback first. It's not usually where I go, but I think that's just too much of a, you have to do it first. You have to get him out of the way, because otherwise you would have taken him, as you said.
Yeah.
So you're up to 2 picks.
Next 2 picks. Okay. So look, one of the hardest positions would have been the hooker. Had a look over the hookers in the past. Mm-hmm. But I had to stick with probably the Dragons' most well-known hooker, and that was Ken Carney, who in the top 100 players of all time, pivotal in the 50s, 60s with the Compson, the 11 straight that we won. So, I'm going to take Ken Carney and slot that in before
good pick.
You come along and snag it off me.
Well, to be honest, because the thing is, the way I do it, I've got like 6 players in different positions just so that I'm prepared. And for me, he's definitely up there in the top 2, but I also did have someone above him, to be honest with you.
We'll wait and see if you do
We'll wait
snag
and
him.
see, but that's a great pick nonetheless. Don't get me wrong, that's a fantastic pick.
And I think I'll probably there's a few others that I think are even, so I can probably leave them. But one that you probably might snag will be the lock position, and that'll be Johnny Raper. You can't go past an immortal, and so I'll take Johnny Raper in the lock position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No. I looked at that. I was just scrolling through quickly when you said that, and I was just trying to figure it out. And then as soon as I saw the name, I was like, yeah, no, that's gone. Yeah, he's a goner.
You can't really go past the immortals. Like, they'll probably be some of the first picked. I think they'll be off the board pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I'm up for 2 picks here. I'm up for 2 picks, and I'm going to have to go to the second row here. I'm going to have to go to the second row. I'm going to have to take non-pro. I'm going to have to just simply take non-pro. There's no argument there. Like, as you said, we're just literally they're just going to start rolling off the board, really. And I'm going to chuck him into the number 11 there. Now, I've also got another pick here, and all right, interesting. So you've already got I know you could obviously look down at your utility. I'm very well aware of what you could be looking at there, mate. They've got pretty good there, but in the same sense, where do I go here? Where do I go? You know what? I am going to lock down. I'm going to lock down a centre here. And I'm actually going to take Reg Gasnier. Yep. I'm going to take Reg Gasnier off the board. There's quite a few centres at the club. I think that it's been a pretty good position for the club over time. And with this series, you'll notice that some clubs don't have a good history with a specific position, right? Compared to some clubs that really have a plethora in that position. For example, you'll find the Eels have never really had a hooker. So, I think that centres here are a plethora at the Dragons. Would you agree?
Absolutely. There's a ton there. Like, what have you wrapped up? Just the one there now, so I'm going to have to jump in and snag one before you take them off the board. But they do have a lot of great centres over the past.
Absolutely. Well, you're up for 2 picks.
Well, I'll stick with the centres. I'm just deciding which one to pick now.
Did you take 2 picks before, by the way?
I did. Yep. Ken Carney in the 9 and Johnny Raper in the 13.
Oh, you did. That's right. Yeah. I was trying to figure myself out for a second there. So what were you saying?
I'm gonna go with a centre.
Okay.
Like we said, there's a few on the board, but I think I'm gonna take, because you'll take one of the other ones, I'm pretty sure, but I'll take Mark Coyne.
Coyne.
Yeah, he one of my favourite players growing up in the 90s. Following him along, I love watching this guy play, and I had the pleasure actually meeting him at a pub in Wagga at about 2:00 in the morning.
I've heard he's a fantastic bloke, man.
After about 30 beers, and he had some great chat. But Mark Coyne, I'll lock him in the number 3.
Number 3, yeah, bingo. Yeah. Alrighty.
We might move up. I'm going to go take one of the big boys. Probably one of the most well-known big boys for the Dragons. He father and son played, and that's Craig Young.
Craig Young
in the number 8 position.
Number 8, Craig Young. Yeah, no, that's I'm noticing with your team, you're definitely getting those. Well, we're both gone for the big boppers from the olden days as well. It feels like we haven't really. Well, obviously, we're not really going to look too much at this year, I guess, but we haven't really gone for those freshies just yet. The younger bloods. So getting all those big boppers out of the way early from the olden days. All right. Now I've got 2 picks here. Now, when you said centers, when I heard Mark, I was thinking you were actually going to go another Mark there, mate. I was thinking you were going to go another Mark there, and
he's up there.
He's up there, but there's also I can't even say it. I want to say it because I want to chat, but in the same sense we can't, because then I'm ruining it for myself. I'm going to have to. You know what? I'm going to lock down. Oh, my goodness me.
Pressure.
There is a lot of pressure here. You know what? I am going to lock down. I want to get this guy off the board right now, because I don't want you to take him as a number 14, or even as just because I think that he could be good utility. So I'm actually going to take Dean Young. I'm taking Dean Young off the board here, and I'm going to chuck him into my hooker role. Because
nice.
as you said, there wasn't really, like, there is a couple there, but there wasn't really a great deal of significant difference maker hookers. And Dean Young obviously was a difference maker hooker. And then I'm also going to move to lock down a bit more of my spine. And I'm actually going to take Trent Barrett here. I'm going to take Trent Barrett here into the 5'8". So, as much as people may not think he's the greatest coach ever, he definitely was one of the greatest, or he's one of the greatest 5'8s for the Dragons over the years. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you started off with the Steelers, and then into the St George Illawarra Dragons with Mundine in the '99 grand final. I remember that pretty heavily. But yeah, a great of the Dragons, St George Illawarra Dragons. So
absolutely.
Good pick there. Yeah, like we spoke about the hooker. Some of the other, we've both wrapped them up now, but some of the other guys like Nathan Brown and Mark Riddell was.
I was going to say Mark Riddell.
Yeah, Piggy Riddell.
Nathan Feen was there too once.
Nathan Feen. And even now, like you look at Cam McInnes, you could put him in there for the start of his career that he's had with us. He could have been up there. I think you still have a centre position to pick.
I do have a centre position to pick. I've got one centre. I've got Reg Gasnier. Like, I'm very well aware when I said what I said. I'm very well aware what you could be doing. But in the same sense, I'm happy with a couple of guys there.
Look, I'm gonna wrap up my other centre.
Yep.
And I'm actually not going to take who you think. You probably think I would have taken Mark Gasnier, but I'm going to take Matt Cooper.
I was going to say it's either Mark Gasnier or Matt Cooper.
For me, like growing up watching these guys, both on either side of the field, it was like, they were perfect. Like, one was a great attacking, one was great defensively.
Yep.
And then to see him for Australia and New South Wales as well. So, yeah, I'll take Cooper in the 4, which he played.
There was literally, when you were saying that, man, I knew that it was either Cooper or Gasnier.
Yeah.
Like there is also Paul McGregor and Steve Morris, but in the same sense,
there's plenty of other picks, but I more of a fondness, I suppose, for Matt Cooper. Again, like other people go, he's not the greatest centre for the Dragons. That's fine, but you got to stick with some of your.
Year as well?
I'm sure he did. If he did,
mate, you've got that on your team robbery now.
Yes, automatic winner right there.
Exactly right. The ladies are voting for you.
I think I'm going to leave the 5'8" for a bit. I might go halfback. I'm going to go a couple of positions here, a couple of people here that we could have picked.
Yep.
But I've got to get a Morris into my team, so I'm going to go Steve Slippy Morris.
Going to put Stevie Morris into the
halfback. Just seeing some of the highlights. I didn't watch too much of his play, but the highlights that you see, the toughness that he had, and the way he could score a try, I'll take him.
Fair enough. There is definitely a couple of halfies there, but Steve Morris, fantastic, number 7. I think I can definitely leave the 7 for a bit now because you've already locked him down. So I think I know I can leave him for later. I'm going to go with a winger here. I'm going to go with a winger because there is literally, the Dragons have always been a really good forwards team as well. So there's plenty there. I'm going to go Nathan Blacklock. I'm taking Nathan Blacklock off the board. I've got him as my number 1. I think that when I think of the Dragons and I think of the fast-paced outside backs, Nathan Blacklock is always one of the guys, the first guy that I actually think of. Now, there is a couple here, don't get me wrong, but Nathan Blacklock was one of those original speedsters back in the day. And I just absolutely, when I grew up, I was mainly looking, when was he? Like, he was in the 90s?
Late 90s, early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, so that was when I was at my earliest. Like, I was born in 94, so I was just kind of starting out. And for a young kid to still remember him right now at 27 years old, it tells you something. But so I've gone Nathan Blacklock, and
just a little funny thing. He actually started his career with the Roosters.
Did he really?
Roosters, yeah. And I think the first player to score 20-plus tries in 4 consecutive seasons. So
yeah, wow.
He had one of the best strike rates.
Well, obviously, it wasn't really like a high-scoring kind of game back then, too. Can you imagine if Blacklock was in today's game?
Oh,
I know.
He'd be, you'd say he'd be, up there for the leading try scorer.
Absolutely. Alrighty, so do I want to continue? You've actually gone a bit different now. You went heavily in the forwards last time we did this, and now you're mixing it up, and I like it.
Jeez, you've got a good memory.
I do have a good memory, just without the good memory part. Alrighty, so I'm going to go a front row forward here because I haven't gone a front rower yet. And I'm going to take a guy who's more recent, but he also played for my Titans, actually. And his name is Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey.
Yep.
The Big Bopper, the Bull, as they called him. He is a rampager of a player. And obviously, he's a guy that also never had a bad mark on his name, never had a tarnished mark on his name throughout his entire career in the NRL.
Oh, so never got suspended? Never? I
don't believe so, because he was trying to do the Rugby Players Association or something like that. And anyway, controversial stuff there. But I don't think he ever got suspended or anything, yeah.
There you go. A little bit of tidbit, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's your 2 picks, yeah?
That's my 2 picks.
I'll move back into the forwards. I think I need to snag some up before you come in and take them away.
Yep.
Look, again, who have you taken? You've taken Norm Proven. He's off.
Yeah, Norm Proven's gone.
Great Norm Proven.
Yeah.
If I don't take him, you probably will. You've got both props?
No, I've only got one prop, Luke Bailey.
Look, I'm going to take someone who partnered with Luke Bailey.
Yeah.
He again one of my favourite players. Great in the assistant coach now with the Storm, and that's Jason Riles.
Yeah, Jason Riles. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, well, he was definitely the next big bopper that I was looking at there. Definitely the next big bopper I was looking at. Absolutely.
I might snag up a second rower.
No, don't do it.
Take him. Yeah, I think you'd probably take him. Look, I love Frizz. I've got to take Tyson Frizzell.
Yeah.
Even though he's gone. I nearly cried the day I heard he went, because he was one of the only guys that I thought just gave his heart every time he ran on that field. So yeah, Tyson Frizzell in the number 11 spot.
Yeah, Tyson Frizzell. I think he actually got selected, and this is I don't know when the night. Actually, no, I won't say. I don't know if he got selected in the Knights one as well. To be honest with you, even though he's only been there for a short period of time, but it shows you how good he is as a player, that he can potentially be selected in 2 teams here throughout the history. But yeah, no, fantastic pick there, and especially nowadays too. You're getting a bit of a mix there now. But you've got your forwards are now locked up. So you've just gone and went bang. But then again, I can see your bench over there. Don't get me wrong. I can still see your bench over there. I'm not gonna let you have him. I'm not gonna let you have him. I think this is one of the more underrated second rows throughout your history. This is going to be one. I think he's rated, but he's also very underrated. I'm taking Ben Craig here. I'm going to put him into the 12. I think he wasn't the one that was known in New South Wales for running away from Hodges, was it? Or who am I thinking of?
He was.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a Queenslander.
He represented Australia. He represented New South Wales plenty of times. Great pick. Yeah. He was up there.
Absolutely. I just obviously wouldn't want him to be leading the line in a fight.
No.
But obviously, yeah, fantastic player for the Dragons. And now, you don't have your fullback, your wings yet. I could actually lock down someone who people will always remember as one of the greatest wingers here as well, to be honest with you. And I'm actually going to take Brett Morrissey off the board. I think that's going to be brilliant with Nathan Blacklock and Morris there. I don't even need to really explain my pick there, really, to be honest with you.
Not Brett Morris. Probably a bit dumb of me to leave him that long in the draft.
Would you have taken him next?
Yeah, like one of the wingers I was going to take, and I should have taken. Now that I think about it, like he should have been probably in the top 5 picks.
I agree.
You look at his career, like his longevity as well, but especially that time at the Dragons, he was still rated as one of the top wingers in the game.
I think that was when he was at his, I think he was great at the Roosters, fantastic at the Roosters, but I think he was at his best at the Dragons, though.
I think, his time at the Roosters was, getting on a little bit, and a lot of people were just more appreciative of him.
Yeah.
But they forget, when he was at the Dragons, how fire he was.
He won it with them in 2010, right?
2010, yep.
Yeah, that's
Did
right.
not have his foot out. I don't care. You can show me the proof. He did not have his foot out on that try.
Mate, 2010 is a heartbreaking year for me as a Titans fan. It's the last time we ever made it as close as we could. Well, the furthest we've ever gone. So let's move past 2010, because otherwise I'm going to start crying. You're up for 2 picks.
Mate, you got both your wingers?
I do.
Okay, so I can sort of leave there. I'll take a winger. I'll take Ricky Walford, and the reason, again, like you can look at his. I think he scored 100 tries in 120 games or something like that. He had a fantastic strike record, could kick a goal as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up watching the Dragons in the '90s, watching him in those grand finals, and I'd love Ricky Walford, and had to slot him in my team. So I'll slot him in there in the number 2.
Alrighty, so Ricky Walford. Oh, you've got another pick though, yeah?
I do, yep.
Yeah. So I originally had Ricky Walford also as a fullback here. I was thinking you were going to chuck him in there.
No. Well, considering you've wrapped up the fullback, I think I can leave that for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll take number 6. Look, there was a few picks here. You took Trent Barrett off the board, which would have been my probably number 1 choice in the 5'8". But look, his time at the Dragons, I think he was fantastic. Stood up. I'm sorry, Jamie Soward. He would have been up there as well, but I'm going to take Gareth Widdop.
Wow, I was actually thinking that you were about to say Jamie Soward. Yeah, that's a big miss here for both our drafts that he's going to get selected.
Yeah, no dig on Jamie Soward. I just thought Gareth Widdop, showed even when the team was performing badly, he would stand up and play well. And I think he's leading point scorer now for the St George Illawarra Dragons. So. I'll take Gaz.
Yeah, wow. No, that's a good pick. I think people forget that Gareth Widdop was a really good player early days as well, even really good at the Storm too. People don't really give him great credit for. That's a good pick there. It's just crazy for me that we both didn't pick.
He's one of those players, one of the rare players that left Melbourne and probably became like a better player.
Yeah.
I thought, and I think he came to the Dragons and he could lead the team. Whereas when he was at the Storm, he was behind just a couple of mortals, nearly.
Yeah.
So
look, I'm gonna take someone here. It might be a bit early. You may not be thinking about him, but I think that it's someone. I'm going to take my utility here, my number 14. I'm going to take my number 14 here, and I think people throughout the end of his career will forget how good he was at the beginning of his career and throughout the peak of his career. And he was a part of that State of Origin team for Queensland. I'm taking Darius Boyd here, mate.
Oh.
You know why I did that as well? Because I know you've got your fullback spot there too, as well.
That, he only had, 2.5 seasons with the Dragons.
Yeah.
But his 2010, is one of the greatest seasons, I think, for a fullback. So, I'm pissed at that.
I heard you kind of speaking just then about.
I gave it away, didn't I? I gave it away.
I looked at the fact that there are a couple of utilities there, but I thought that I don't think you're going to go for the other fullbacks I've got here because they are a bit kind of beforehand, and I just thought that I had to take him because I knew you were going to grab him. So. I think that was a snag there. That was one of those ones in the NFL draft we just beforehand, just take him from the grasp.
That would have been my very next pick.
But yeah, so I think that another thing I want to repeat here, guys, is that we have to remember at their peak at the club, not what we know from Darius Boyd towards the end, where it became a bit of a meme. Beforehand, still it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable back in the early 2010s and late 2000s. But alrighty, so I've still got my 13, my 10, but in the same sense, you've still got your bench there. So I'm going to have to look at, you know what, I was considering going on someone that's a bit of a joke, but I'm actually going to go Billy Wilson here, mate. I'm going to go Billy Wilson here in the front row. A lot of the younger kids might not know him, but one of the big bopper forwards of the older generation, and I think that him and Luke Bailey would create absolute havoc up there in the front row. And that's all 4 of my top front rows that are gone, by the way. You've got a couple and I've got a couple.
Good pick. Still reeling from that Darius, but I know he was late and I was like, you've got a fullback. How can you take him in 14? But anyway,
he played he played a little bit of a halves. He also played fullback and centre, and I don't think you chuck him on the wing, but you could chuck him on the wing.
Leading try scorer for the Australians, Kangaroos at winger, and I think he still had 100% strike rate too, so 100% win rate. But yeah, okay. Well, I'll fill it me fullback now that you take him. Look, great. Could have played, plenty of positions. It did cover a fair few for the Dragons. Was a fair bit of a utility as well. So Benny Hornby.
Ben Hornby, yeah.
Yeah, I'll slot him in the number 1. Always reliable. Again, not the greatest fullback, but again reliable. So.
I was considering him in the halfback position.
Yep. Yeah, it could have been. I had halfbacks, Benny Horby, Steve Morris, Billy
Yeah,
Smith.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So, and I'll lock in. I know you're definitely not going to take my my second row from me.
Okay.
I'll lock in my other winger, which is so I've got Walford. I will take. There's toss up between two here. It's hard. I'll take Rod Wishart.
Rod Wishart. I thought you were going to take Jason Nightingale.
Yeah, he was the other one. But again, like, I'm a bit old school. Like, I love Jason Nightingale. He was tough. He was reliable. But Rod Wishart, he just had he had the good looks. He had was a great player. Represented New South Wales, Australia, couple of kangaroo tours. So look, I suppose you have a bit more of a connection with those guys of being an Australian, whereas Jason Nightingale was a Kiwi. He probably would have played State of Origin if he was an Australian. He was that reliable. But yeah, I'll stick with Rod Wishart.
Yeah, no, good pick. Good pick. I think that a fun fact for you guys actually out there, the first NRL player that I ever interviewed on the channel at a vlog was actually Nightingale. Fun fact. But
there you go. Yep.
There you go. But no, Rod Wishart, I think even his name still transcends through time as well. I think that a lot of people still know the name, whether they watched him or not, they still know the name of Rod Wishart.
And then his son just got signed with Storm. So
true. There you go.
Keep an eye on him, Tyron Wishart. He'll be a star of the future.
Now, I could look at trying to go for the snipe here because I know you said the second row I'd never take him, but like I could look for the snipe. I'm not going to do it because I've already sniped you once, so I'm going to have to. I'll look elsewhere. I don't really mind which coach. I don't care if you take the coach or whatnot. I don't really mind, to be honest with you. So I might leave him a little bit later. All right. So you've got your whole back line sorted. I'm pretty certain that I'm going to have to go with a forward here, and I've still got my 13. Oh, you haven't taken Trent Merrin yet, have you?
I have not, no.
You have not? All right, I'm going to take Trent Merrin here as my lock. I'm going to go Trent Merrin here as my lock. Obviously, Johnny Rapier was my number one, but I had Trent Merrin as my number two, and I had Dean Young as well, actually, as my number three, but he's obviously into my number 9. So I'll take Trent Merrin into the 13. And now, who do I want to look at here for the bench? I could look at a real big bopper. Or someone who is very consistent. You know what? I'm actually going to take Rod Reddy here. Rod Reddy here, second row, and chuck him onto the bench. He's my number 3 here behind Ben Craig and Norm Proven. And Rod Reddy is a guy that I don't think a lot of people would know nowadays, but man, just another one of those guys for those peak periods that were just grinders and battlers.
Nice.
That wasn't the second rower for you?
Sorry, who did you say? I've just missed that.
Rod Reddy.
No, he wasn't. I don't think you would have picked it because it's probably not a name that would have been up in lights that much. But I'll take him now, and it's pretty much the reason for my pick. A little bit of a personal story. He's the reason I got into rugby league. He came to my town, ran a clinic for football. I'd never I mucked around, throwing a ball around. But he came to the thing. The first game of rugby league I ever played was a carnival which he ran. And so from then on, I love rugby league and loved it since that day. So
that's awesome.
Scott Goulet, he an Australian rep. He played Australian for the Wallabies as well as New South Wales here in rugby league. And he was pivotal in that 92-93 losses, but he was, I remember sitting down on the lounge with Dad watching those games and watching him play, and he was just a large life character. And I still love him. I've never met him. I'd love to meet him.
To be honest with you, man, that's fantastic because I love those kind of stories of how people get into the game and how they fall in love with the game, and that's awesome to hear. I'm actually not too sure about him.
What's that? Sorry.
I wasn't a great deal aware. This might have been just a little bit before my time. But
so he's like early 90s.
Wow, awesome.
Played for the Roosters as well. Didn't play that many games, but it was, like I said, pivotal in those Dragons, the big Dragons teams of the early 90s. So
yeah, no, good stuff. No, that's good. I love hearing those kind of stories, bro. Alrighty, so I'm up for 2 now, am I?
No, I've still got.
Oh, you still got one more. You still got one more, yeah.
So I'm onto my bench now. So I filled out my 1 to 13 onto the bench.
Yep.
I think I'll have to take a utility. Otherwise, you'll probably snag him up. But look, I'm gonna go Anthony Mundine.
And you actually terrified me for a second then, because I was like, oh, please don't take the halfback. But that's fantastic.
No, look, Mundine. Look, very outspoken. A lot of people don't like him, but you sort of forget how good he was. And in the late 90s, and everyone looks at the drop ball in the grand final in '99, but he was a great player, and I sort of spewing that we lost him to boxing. As good as he did go over there, and probably went bigger than he ever was in rugby league. When he was here, I would have loved to see him play, for another 10 years here and see what he could have done. But so that's my 14.
Well, yeah, he says that he was the best ever winger of all time in the NRL. He's better than again. We know what Anthony Mundine's like, but when I look at footage of him, he was just so pacey, man, so fast. He was around with Nathan Blacklock too, wasn't he? They were the two wingers.
Oh yeah, yep. He used to love the no. So Mundine was a 5'8".
Oh, 5'8". Okay, yep. Well, there you go. There you go. And
he used to do the backflip and the cartwheels after games. So yeah.
I swear I've seen Mundine play wing at some stage, though. Well, then again, that's why he's in your 14, I guess. So I think
he played centre. He might have played centre and winger when he was at Brisbane.
Okay.
I don't think he really played that much for the Dragons. But
I'm not going to lie to you. My heart sank when you were saying that. And I'm taking Billy Smith here just to make sure in the 7. Now, the thing is that, I know he actually has played a couple of positions, and I know you could have actually put Billy Smith into that 14, and I didn't have another backup halfback, so you would have had the ultimate snipe because I would have been freaking out. I would have chucked buddy Jason Nightingale in the halfback at that stage. But I'm going to have to take Billy Smith there. You mentioned him before. I think that's Trent Barrett and Billy Smith. You can't really go too much wrong with that. I think he was in the time when you guys won 11 in a row as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yep. I'm pretty sure he was, yep.
Yeah, so Billy Smith into my 7 alongside Big Baz. Another guy, actually, you had Cooper, sexiest man on the planet, but I've also got Trent Barrett, who everyone's talking about now, being bloody sexiest coach on the planet. How about that? All right, so, the thing is, I'll put him there after. All right, so I've got my 16 and 17. You know what? I'm actually going to take my coach here. I'm going to take Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, nice.
There's 2 there, but in the same sense, I have to lock him down. He's one of the greatest coaches ever. He won the premiership in 2010, came there quickly, left pretty quickly too, but was fantastic at the Dragons.
I'll ask a quick question. Can you take a player if you've taken a player, but they were a coach as well? Because back in the days, you had a lot of captain coaches.
So I think we had this before on another one. You're talking about Norm Proven, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy to allow it, man. I'm happy to allow it. I can't remember what we did in the last one, but in the same sense, it was me asking him that question, and I think he said no, and I didn't really care. I'm happy for you to. I'm happy for you to use it. Yeah,
I think they're really like the coach when it comes down to it. The coach isn't, making up the bulk of the team. But
absolutely, yeah.
Look, I'll So I need a big bopper, and I need probably a couple of bit of versatility there. Look, I'm going to go Brad Mackay. Great player, played, I'm pretty sure he played for all 3 Steelers, Dragons, and St George Illawarra Dragons. I'd have to probably go back and check, but I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh, Brad Mackay, yeah.
Brad Mackay, yeah.
He
joined the Dragons. He went from the Steelers to the Dragons, then we became the St George Illawarra Dragons. So,
yeah.
Brad Mackay on the bench, and then I'll lock in.
He's also a bit of a utility, by the way, as well. He could be used in multiple positions.
Yep. I might go a redhead. I'm going to go Lance Thompson. Another player, underrated, but I love watching him play. A fan favourite, Big Red. Unfortunately, not with us anymore. But I'll have to put him on the bench there for me.
Yeah, bingo. Alrighty, so I've got my 16, 17 and my centre. Now, I am going, because I know you're not going to take this guy with your last pick. So I'm going to take Mark Gasner here. Like, I just have to do it. But I want to leave my last pick as a bit of a surprise because, buddy, it's a good one. It's a goodie. So Mark Gasner will go into my centres there. Now, 16 and 17, who do I put as my 16? I'm going to take, I've already got a back rower there. I need to take... who do I go? I'm going to go Matt Pryor here, mate. I'm going to go Matt Pryor. He did well with the Dragons, and he also did a little bit well with the Sharkies as well, actually, Matty Pryor.
Yeah. Made his New South Wales debut. I think he was one of the oldest New South Wales debutants when he went to the Sharks, though. But yeah, no, he was, again, one of the players in 2010 grand final. And great player, great pick.
So you've got your 17 in coach, and then you're all done.
Look, there was a couple of big boppers here that I would love to pick.
Yep.
I'll run through like George Rose. He only played a couple of games. He wasn't great at the Dragons, but a fan favourite. Big gorgeous George. Another one, Sean Timmins.
Yep.
I'm not going to pick him. Count him down.
I know who I'm feeling like
another one that I'm not picking, but deserves a mention is Michael Wayman.
Yep.
But I've got to go with the greatest bench player of all time.
Here we go.
The GOAT.
Jeremy
Lattimore.
Oh, that was who I was going to pick with my last pick as a joke.
I did leave it. But I was thinking there's no way I can not have him on my team.
Mate, you've just won.
I think so, just with that pick.
You just sniped me so hard. I said I was going to leave him for that very reason. Yikes. That's funny as, man. That's funny as.
Sorry about that.
Jeez. Well, I took Darren Ford from you, so you took Jezza. So
he has to be on my team. But yeah, like I said, shout out, Jeremy, he admits he probably is not the greatest player, but I had to pick him in the team, the GOAT. But Michael Wayman probably would have been a decent pick that I should have put in there. And Sean Timmins as well, like I said. Great utility as well. Could have played plenty of positions and just very competitive. But yeah.
And your coach is Norm Proven, right?
That's it. So yeah, 17, and then the coach, Normie Proven.
Yeah, fair enough.
Currently, for me, as great as Wayne Bennett was when he was at the club, Norm Proven to win, be a part of that team that won 11 straight, and as a captain coach for a lot of it. So yeah, big Normie.
Now, I've got my 17. You've sniped me hard. Now, a couple of other big bopper forwards that I'm thinking about here is also Leeson Armour. I thought Leeson Armour was a big bopper that could be used. And same with Dan Hunt as well.
Yep.
Dan Hunt. There was Graham Wynn. There was Bo Scott as well that I've been considering here. But I am actually going to I want a really big, solid forward here. And I am actually going to take Leeson Armour. I'm going to take Leeson Armour here. He is one of the more relatively... Actually, was he in your 2010 team as well, I think?
No, I don't think he was.
No, maybe just after or just...
later, yep.
Yeah, I feel like Leeson Armour, whether people... I think this is a bit of a favourite pick as well. I just loved the way that he just went and did his business. He just ran... I was really close to taking Dan Hunt here, but I think that Leeson Armour, for me, is just one of those really big guys that come off the bench and just absolutely cause havoc. Just absolutely cause havoc there, especially with a team like this. So, do you disagree with that pick?
No, I love it. Like you mentioned, Dan Hunt, he's doing great things off the field now. Dealing with mental health with the NRL as well. So, but Leeson Armour, great pick. Solid forward that would get the job done.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's go through these teams here because we are all finished up for now. Can you run us through your team, who your captain is and who your kicker is?
Yeah, look, I'd probably have to give the captaincy to Johnny Raper. And I'll go from 1 to 17. So I've got Benny Hornby at fullback, wingers Ricky Walford and Rod Wishart, centre pairing of Mark Coyne and Matt Cooper, both MCs. Just realised.
There you go.
6 and 7, I've got Gaz Widdop and slippery Steve Morris.
Yep.
Props, Craig Young and Jason Riles. And number 9, I've got Ken Carney. 11 and 12, Tyson Frizzell and big tall Scotty Goulet. Yep. And 13, Johnny Raper as captain. My bench would be 14, Anthony Mundine, 15 Lance Thompson, 16 Brad Mackay, and 17 the GOAT Jeremy Lattimore. With a coach of Norm Proven.
And who was your kicker, did you say?
That would have to be Benny Hornby, I'd say. Or no, sorry, Rod Wishart. Rod Wishart.
There you go. Alrighty, so that's the Roasties team. Now for me, I've obviously got my kicker as Graham Langlands. Graham Langlands, one of the greatest kickers of all time, as my number one in the fullback, with Brett Morris and Nathan Blacklock on the wings. My goodness me, I'm excited for that. I've got the two Gasniers, Reg and Mark Gasnier and Reg Gasnier in the 3 and the 4, with Trent Barrett and Billy Smith in the halves. We've got Luke Bailey and Billy Wilson, two massive big boppers in the front row, with Dean Young in the number 9. Also, if he really wanted to, he could play with a 13 as well. We've got Norm Proven, and Ben Craig as our back row, with Trent Merrin as the number 13. In the 14, the Sniper Reno, Darius Boyd as the utility, with Rod Reddy, Matt Pryor, and Leeson Armour on the bench. And then obviously the coach is the 2010 Premiership winning coach of the Dragons, Wayne Bennett. And who's my captain, actually? That's a good question. You know what? I've done this throughout all my ones so far. I'm actually going to go co-captains here, mate. I love the co-captain thing. I'm actually going to take a forward and a back, because I like if a forward does go off or whatnot, we want to have someone who's still going to be on the field. I'm going to have Norm Proven as the one up top in the forwards, and then I'm also going to have Graham Langlands as the other captain there. So Graham Langlands and Norman Proven as the two guys there. Do you what do you think of my team, man?
I love it. I just think if we played you out of let's say 10 times, we would win all 10.
You're a joke.
No, look, again, like we had some similar thoughts there. I'm pretty sure I thought I could defer him to number 2 with Graham Langlands. But yeah, we're on the same page there with some of our picks and so close in some things. Who
did you originally think that I was going to take with that number 1?
I thought you would have taken like a Norm Proven or like a Reg Gasnier or Johnny Raper, like one of the immortals, one of the other immortals. I just didn't think you would have taken Changa, but it is what it is. You got the pick.
I got it, man. I got it. Well, with your team, man, I think your forwards are just fantastic. Obviously, Frizzell is a nice bit of young blood there. I also really like your centre pairing of Mark Coyne and Matty Cooper there. Benny Hornby at the fullback, unreal player there. And I just love that Anthony Mundine can come off the bench there in the 6 or on the wing or on the centres. And I just think that's really good there. And obviously, Jeremy Lattimore, you can't complain with a bit of Jeremy Lattimore. Can't complain with a GOAT in your team. So
I think he holds the record for most appearances off the bench.
Does he really?
Yep. So he's the ultimate bench player.
Alrighty, well, that's going to do us for today, guys. So if you did obviously like this video, do hit that thumbs up button. Obviously, subscribe if you're new around here. Now, jump over to BK Sport on Instagram. Also, the NRL Roast, but you know the NRL Roast. We're going to be doing a poll here when this comes out for who you think wins. Please vote. And after the last time with the Roast, please vote the team you think is the best. Not just because because last time we did this, unfortunately, Entertain House copped it.
Copped it very bad.
Oh man, it was very funny.
Like, I'll throw that up and I'll go over and vote, and I'm like, if my audience goes over and sounds like a brag, but like because there's more, they're obviously going to stick with my team more than
so
it does make it a bit unfair, but.
It was just so funny because it was so unexpected. Like you were just like, oh yeah, go and vote, and then it was just like a flood, and Hayden's team just got.
I'm pretty sure. Like I remember like looking at it, and it was quite even, and it had been up for a little while, and then I shared it. And I was just like, did it get down to under 10%?
It was like literally like 4%. But like I said, guys, that is going to do us for today. So I know that everyone should know where to find you because your buddy, as we were just talking about, your buddy massive, mate. Where can everyone find you if they don't know?
At the NRL Roast on all socials. So there's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're trying to get up YouTube, but we're not doing too much there. But I'll leave that. But yeah, anywhere on the other socials.
I think you have a podcast too, don't you?
We do, yeah. So Roasted Podcast. You can find that on Spotify and iTunes. Talking to a few players, creators, and different people around the NRL community. Slowly getting there, just starting out. But if you could find us on Apple, give us a rating. Find us on Spotify, subscribe, and give us a listen. Give us some feedback, and it'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, no, awesome, man. No, it's good to see. I love the fact the NRL community is growing so much right now with all these content creators like yourself and myself, and just everyone getting around their different teams. And it's just obviously really starting to grow in the last year or so. And obviously, you with your page as well, man. It's a catalyst for it all. So it's pretty awesome. But that is it, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. Go and check out the NRL Roast on his socials. I hope you have enjoyed. Next week there'll be a new team coming out. Last week I guarantee there was a team that came out. So this is all 16 different teams, guys, with 16 different creators. So do get around it and get around everyone involved. But all right, guys, jumping off, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.